and I have a special guest today. Really excited.
It's my YouTube baby, guys.
Jesu.
AKA Roberta, AKA Robert. Okay, sorry, I'm actually.
BSN, RN.
Yeah, so.
What else? PhD.
MSc, PhD, everything there together.
Yeah, so today we'll just be sharing our journey through NCLEX, like what we did to study for NCLEX and how we passed in 75 questions.
My miracle.
My miracle. Actually, by hard work too, though.
Yeah,
but like
true.
just generally just tips on how to pass the NCLEX and what we did, what worked for us, what didn't work for us, and something that you guys can use. Hopefully, you find something useful that you can apply to your own study for NCLEX as well. Mm-hmm. So over to you, Faye. What were the things that actually helped? How did you feel writing the NCLEX before you even?
Oh my goodness! Like I felt the way everybody else would have felt. Like very anxious. I was very anxious, very unsure of myself. I was wondering, oh my goodness, did I study enough? And do I know what I'm doing? And all those kind of stuff. But I survived. I guess that's it. Yeah, it was a process, I guess. And I think because they prepare you from school, right? Like you hear the big NCLEX. So there's this like the big exam.
Yeah, the big exam that you have to pass after nursing school.
Yeah. I used UWORLD. I think I used UWORLD for about 2 months. But yeah, I think I did the 2 months and 2 weeks subscription for the UWORLD. So that was the one I used the most. And then I used SAUNDERS Comprehensive Review, the Canadian version, because I'm in Canada, so I used the Canadian version. That one I started using earlier. So before I subscribed for UWORLD, because UWORLD is expensive, like it's quite pricey.
I can't remember how much it was, $200 or something.
No, over 295, I think.
Okay, for like 3 months. Yeah,
$295 for 3 months. So I knew that if I was going to subscribe for UWORLD, I had to be ready to take the exam. Like that would be when I was like ready for the exam. So I started with the SAUNDERS Comprehensive Review while I was doing my final practicum. I'm grateful. My final practicum, my second one was in a very less busy unit, so I had time to like study. So during break time, during down periods, I was studying with the SAUNDERS. I like the SAUNDERS because it just puts everything in short point, like it's short, easy to understand, unlike those big textbooks that we used to read in school. So I used that, and then I took a break. Then I scheduled my exam, and then I subscribed for UWORLD. So then I used the UWORLD for the.
Okay, so you basically scheduled your exam before you started. Before you subscribed to UWORLD. Yeah. For me, it was the other way around. I already subscribed to UWORLD since August, so we're done. I think we're done end of July.
First week in August.
Oh, you're done.
You finished.
I finished in July. Yeah. So and then August, I subscribed to like UWORLD already. And when did we? And then I wrote my exam in November. If I wrote the exam in October,
No, oh my goodness. It's because I think at the end of the day, it just boils down to knowing yourself. I just knew if I waited for too long, anxiety would practically kill me. So I was like, I have to take this as soon as possible.
So our first tip is to know yourself, know what works for you, know how you can study, and then begin to plan your life around what works best for you in terms of studying.
That's so true. And knowing what works best for you helps you to not compare yourself to others. Like if you see someone, like maybe if you see me like, oh, if I just is writing out in October, I have to write mine in October. Oh, right. Tell me it's actually taking time. Maybe I need to take time also. But then when you know what works best for you, you know that whatever plan you have is the best plan for you basically. And there's always a leeway to change. Like if I'd decided by October that I wasn't ready enough, I could always postpone it, and then you could also you could always change the date. But understanding what works best for you is very, very important. Like your study pattern, what you need. Yeah.
So
UWORLD is tough, guys. Like UWORLD is tough. If you're doing UWORLD, just don't be scared anytime you're seeing the marks at the end of the day. Because sometimes you study, like for me, I would do SAUNDERS, like maybe a particular topic, maybe GI or cardio, and I'm like, yes, I know it, and go to UWORLD and it's like, oh my goodness, I don't think I know anything. So I think what I liked about UWORLD is it didn't give me any kind of confidence that I wasn't supposed to have. You understand? Like I wasn't it was tough, so I knew I had to study more. The questions, they are tough, but the rationales are very good. So you go through the questions, you might see the results and you may be discouraged, but I think from my own experience, and I think from yours also, UWORLD is tougher than NCLEX. My own experience, some people might have different views. So for me, I just like the fact that I was doing tough questions. I wasn't too cocky or like, oh yes, I already know it.
It's
I just,
like I'm past.
exactly.
Yeah.
I knew that I had to study more. So I like that about UWORLD. The only thing is, I think the questions, like I said, they're tougher than NCLEX. So it can make you unsure of yourself. So what I did was, I was switching between UWorld and there was an app our school gave us, Passpoint. It's a little bit easier, and I think it's a little bit more similar to NCLEX in terms of difficulty level. So I would switch to that app whenever I was feeling like I was an Olodo. Sorry, Olodo means Olodo. I'm a typical Nigerian. Olodo means someone that doesn't know anything. So whenever I was just feeling like I didn't know anything, I would just go back there and then get my confidence up, because of course that one I would do better than I did in UWorld. And yeah, that's UWorld for me.
Yeah, for UWorld, one thing I used it for was, initially I just did a set of questions to sort of see what questions I was better at and what I wasn't good at. So maybe like when I did UWorld, I thought I did better at like maternity questions compared to like cardio questions. So it gave me like a baseline for what I needed to study more on, and then that's when I started to study use SAUNDERS review to study on the systems. So basically you can use UWorld to get like a starter, like a baseline.
So you did like
a comprehensive
like, yeah, okay, before,
like just did like 150 questions at once.
Okay.
No, I didn't select the specific system.
So to know where you stand,
to know where I
what you need
stand,
to
and
learn
then what
more.
I need to study. The second thing that helped, another resource apart from SAUNDERS and UWorld, was Marquet audios. It helped me to reinforce the material. So I'd read already, so this was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before my exam. So listening to Marquet would be like, oh, okay, I know that concept. And then he had like different tips as to how to answer the question. So there was, like, I can't say everything here, but there was just a lot of tips as to how to answer questions. And so when I was answering UWorld questions subsequently, I would now see that, oh, those tips were helpful to answer those questions. So yeah, Marquet audio. So talking about UWorld Passport.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When did you do? There's another test you do that actually tells you if you pass or if you don't. Like, did you do it like 1 week before your exam, or did you do it maybe 2 days before your exam?
For UWorld.
Yeah, for UWorld. That's.
I think I did like 2 weeks before.
2 weeks before. Yeah.
I had two tests.
Okay.
So I did it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before, and then I did one closer to the exam, like a week or
Yeah, because I don't advise anyone to do it like a day before,
or 2
because you might see your results and then you just start freaking out, and the anxiety is already enough. You don't want to add anything extra to it. So I know for mine, I did mine like about maybe 4 or 5 days before, and I just looked at where I needed to improve on, and that was just what I used for the last set of studying whatever that I did. So try not to do it like a day before. You just freak out. Like, give yourself time when you do the last quiz or test or comprehensive, whatever they call it, and then you know where you need to actually focus your attention more on, and then you can go from there. Okay, like I think that also comes back to knowing yourself, like knowing what works best for you. That's what will actually set the tone for your studies. So for me, before I started studying at all, like real studying, I already set a date for my exam. So I think my exam was October. I knew this was the day I was going to write the exam. And so then I made a timetable. Like, I put in the different systems that I was going to be studying every day, the number of questions I was going to be doing. And knowing myself and my short attention span, I knew I factored that into preparing the timetable. So like, I didn't put like 500 questions in the timetable. I knew I wasn't going to finish 500 questions. And so I put like 75 questions. Someday I put 10 questions. Someday I put 15 questions. And I also, like, with my timetable, it was like maybe cardio. Cardio is a very heavy system. So I think I gave myself like a longer time for that compared to maybe GI or something that is not as heavy as cardio. And then I was going to the library. Initially I started going to the library because the library, I don't stay in the quiet place in the library. Like, I stay in the general place in the library, but then just being in the library helps me focus more. So I was going to the library while I could. I started working in between. So with that, I knew I had to start working, just because I knew knowing myself, whenever I have a lot of time, I tend to procrastinate. So I didn't want that to happen. So that's why I knew I had to be busy, so I couldn't procrastinate. So I started working in between, and days that I was working, according to my timetable, I'll put like 10-15 questions, just knowing I was going to be tired and everything in between. and I took a break before the exam. So I took, I think, 4 days off before the exam, out from work, to, you know, get myself together, get myself calm, get my anxiety in check before writing the exam. So I guess just knowing what works for you. For me, I had to set a timetable. I was realistic with my timetable, and then I went to the library. Like, I just went to an environment that would make me focus, I guess. Yeah, that was what I did.
So I did the opposite. I didn't book my exam until I was like, I'm 50% or 60% sure that I know my stuff already. I wasn't working. I needed that time. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to try and work. I'm going to focus. But it also helped me going to the library and changing my study space to somewhere I could sit up and feel like, okay, it almost like, you know, it was like going to work, like going somewhere else and then coming back home and then be like, okay, I'm home now, I can relax, I don't have to, I've studied enough for the day type of thing. And then with attention span, I use timers to help me. So I'll set a timer for like, okay, 2 hours, I'm going to just be on this material. And then after the 2 hours, I'll take like 30 minutes surfing the internet, maybe look at my IG, just do something that is just not school, focused on the study material. So that helped me as well.
I think they make it bigger than it's supposed to be. That's my personal opinion. Like, I know after writing the exam, I was like, oh my goodness, like this is what I've been freaking out about, like all this while. I think it's important for people to realize that you've been prepared for this, basically. Like, you've been in school for no matter the number of years you've been in school, preparing for this exam. You've passed all the exams in nursing school. Nursing school has certified you good enough to actually be a nurse. So, like, the exam is just another stepping stone into finally being able to practice independently. So just understanding that if you were good enough to pass nursing school, then NCLEX is not like that big thing. So because I feel like most of the time confidence plays a part in how you do in the exam.
In the exam, right?
Like, yeah, like when you are just like, oh my goodness, I don't think I know it. Like, you could see a question and then you know it, but because you think you don't know it, you start overthinking, and then that happens. So just knowing and constantly reminding yourself, like if you go to the mirror and say, I graduated nursing school, like whatever you think that you
whatever
do,
affirmation,
if it means talking to somebody, if it means going through your transcripts, so like looking at your scores, it's true, like whatever will actually boost your
morale, confidence,
your morale,
right.
Do it, and just that's very important.
I remember like a day before my exam, I was in the car and I'm like, yes, I'm going to write my exam, I'll be a registered nurse, like I'm going to nail it. I had to just talk myself. I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back and look at this video and be like, yes, you did it, type of thing. So really
did you go back to the video?
I did. I looked at it again. Come on, I was speaking it. Basically, one of the things we were saying was how like anxiety can cause people to fail this exam because you're just like, oh my god, things that you now know you will be picking the wrong answer. And the funny thing about this exam, it's not even based on like 60 out of 75. That's not how they don't grade it by. They don't give you a score. It's just like the exam is tailored to how you're answering previous questions, and just believe in yourself that you can pass this exam. And then if you're also if you're a religious person, like for me, the God factor is very important. Like prayers gives you confidence, also helps you, like just knowing that okay, it's not in my hands anymore, like God is in your hands, like I've studied, I've done my best, like now you take control. So if you believe in prayers, like pray, whatever it is that you know would actually help, because prayers help faith, so and that helps confidence. So doing that also, the God factor is also very important if you're a person of faith. If I can remember, like I tried, people come and they say you shouldn't study the day before the exam. So I really tried, but I think the day before the exam, what I did was I just went through my lab values. Like I didn't do any heavy studying. I went through my lab values. I couldn't sleep, guys. Like try to sleep, I beg, but I personally couldn't sleep. Like they tell you to sleep, I couldn't sleep. Yeah, I think me too. I think I was like,
I probably slept 3-4 hours. Yeah, and then I set like 10 alarms. I told my mom to call me to wake me up. I'm like, please, I don't want to sleep off, because my roommate wasn't around that day. So I was like, I don't want to sleep off. So I guess that helped me not sleep also. So in the morning of the exam, you should try to eat. I didn't eat. I think I took one banana, because I googled that bananas help. So I took bananas also. Yeah. What did you do?
I don't know, like you, I wasn't sleeping. I don't think I slept that day. I woke up so early, showered, was ready. I was even contemplating maybe somebody should drop me off because I didn't know what I could drive to the.
You'll be shaking as you're driving.
But yeah, it was okay actually. I'm not sure I ate, but I feel like I did. I can't remember, but definitely I remember being so anxious and just like, okay, I'm driving to the exam place. And when you now get there, and
they make it more what you the
stuff,
scan or whatever.
Then there's a camera on you as you're writing your exam. How did you feel when you got to 75 questions?
Oh, I was like, God, if mother passed 75 questions, because I don't know, that day for some reason I had a really bad headache. Probably because I was so nervous. So I just knew that if it passed 75 questions, I was going to be done. Like, I'll probably start crying.
Yeah.
So when it got to 75 questions, and then it was like, start the survey questions. I'm like, I'm like,
I was like, 74 questions. 75.
Like,
because I was already tired, like brain-wise. I couldn't think again. And I was like, I can't imagine sitting down here for another 75 questions and just having to think. I was like, God,
no, I beg God.
I hope I'm giving this for 75 my best shot. As soon as I saw 76, I was like,
yes, I'm done. I didn't even do the survey questions. I was just too tired for it.
I did as well. I was nice enough to do the survey questions.
I wasn't though. And then another thing that could help you with the nervousness the day before is maybe if you go to the NCLEX, I don't know, I've forgotten the name. Is it
NCBSN?
Yeah, their website, they have like, you put the link. They have like a place where you can actually go through the process before you start, like what you see on the computer, what you click, what you should bring along. Like they have everything. So basically, now prepare you, now make you feel a little bit less anxious. So yeah.
I guess one of the things we should say about the 75 questions is that if you get 75 questions and it ends, it doesn't necessarily mean you pass though. So basically expect the best and prepare for the worst. Yes. So go there being like, okay, if I get to 65, I'll be fine with it. I will keep my head.
I think
in the
now
game.
it's even 60 questions with the whole COVID-19.
Oh, it's just 60?
So now I think the minimum is 60 questions now. But still, whatever the minimum is, the minimum doesn't guarantee past success. Like I know when I finished, I wasn't sure I passed. I was like, either I did very well or I did very bad. But yeah. So
when I finished, I was like,
I
felt pretty like confident. I was like, I answered those questions. It's like I knew what I was doing.
I don't think I knew what I was doing.
Oh God, but there were so many select all that apply questions.
Yeah.
So
I heard that the more select all that apply questions you have, that means you're passing. I don't know. I don't know how true it is. Please don't quote me.
We just had 75 and we're glad that we're done with that phase. So even if you get to 65, you get 200, we just want you to know that it doesn't matter how many questions. The most important thing is that you pass. When they give you you pass, they're not telling you how many questions. Very quick recap of what we said, or like a summary of what we said, and hopefully you pick up one or two things that would help you. So number one is about knowing yourself and your study pattern. What works best for you, basically how you study, if you need to set the date before you start studying, or if you need to study for a while and then set your date. Number two is take breaks while studying. So just understanding that sometimes mental overload, when you're studying and you're tired, you're not actually retaining anything. So just learn to take breaks in between. If it's going to be 15-30 minutes break, like Tammy said, set a timer. Just take breaks in between. Number three is like boost your confidence, use affirmations. If you need to go back to your past transcript to see how well you did, anything to just make videos of yourself and congratulate yourself. Congratulate yourself ahead of time. And just make sure that you're boosting your confidence. If it's like you're listening to YouTube videos, podcasts, anything to make you believe in yourself.
Another thing we talked about was the resources. So we used UWORLD, between both of us, UWORLD, Passport, that's from our school, Mackay Audio, SAUNDERS Comprehensive Review. So those are just some resources that we use. And be careful with resources. I know that because you think, it's NCLEX, you might actually be tempted to maybe pay for more resources that you need, and then it's just an overload. So just be intentional about whatever resources you want to use.
Also look at the NCSBN website.
Just put the link somewhere.
I'm just gonna put it there. And then number 5 is to expect the best and prepare for the worst. So Yeah,
got
some people
this.
don't pass on their first try.
That's not the end of the world.
Exactly, doesn't
though.
mean you can't be a good nurse or anything like that. Because once you're a registered nurse, nobody's asking you how many times you wrote NCLEX.
True.
Like
And there are so many resources for you available when
Exactly.
you start working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not alone actually.
You're not alone.
Thank you guys for watching this episode to the end. I hope
Thank
you
you.
learned a thing or two. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing also your tips and tricks with NCLEX.
Of course, I'm gonna send you my account number so you compensate. I'm just joking. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Alright, till we come your way next time, or till I come your way next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in my next video.
Okay.
Bye.